If I told you there's a type of soil that can feed plants for decades without synthetic fertilizer, you'd probably roll your eyes. We've all heard bold claims before, but this isn't a new invention, a product launch, or a miracle powder in a shiny bag. It's ancient, it's proven, and it was quietly ignored for most of the last century. Today we're talking about a soil system so effective that it makes fertilizer dependency look like a temporary patch, not a solution. A soil that doesn't just feed plants but builds itself year after year. And once you understand how it works, you'll never look at compost, fertilizer, or soil amendments the same way again. Welcome to the forgotten science behind permanent fertility. Deep in the Amazon basin, scientists discovered something that, honestly, just didn't make sense. There were pockets of jet-black, crumbly, outrageously fertile soil, surrounded by nutrient-poor jungle dirt. These patches were producing abundant crops centuries after they were created. This soil became known as Terra Preta, or dark earth. What stunned researchers wasn't just its fertility, but its longevity. While modern agricultural soils lose nutrients quickly and demand constant inputs, Terra Preta stays fertile for generations. No chemical fertilizer, no yearly reset. This wasn't nature alone. It was engineered by ancient farmers. To understand why this soil is so powerful, we have to talk about what's wrong with most garden and farm soils today. Modern agriculture treats soil like a neutral medium. Feed the plant directly, ignore the biology, repeat every season. Synthetic fertilizers deliver fast nutrients, but they don't build structure, microbial life, or long-term fertility. In fact, they often do the opposite. Over time, soils become compacted, lifeless, and unable to hold nutrients. Microbes disappear, organic matter declines, fertilizer leaches away with every rain, forcing growers to apply more just to maintain yields. This cycle is profitable, but fragile. Terra Preta breaks that cycle entirely. The foundation of this forever soil is stable carbon, commonly known today as biochar. But, this isn't just charcoal tossed into soil, it's carbon that's been biologically activated. Ancient farmers combined charred biomass with organic waste food scraps, manure, bones, and ash. Over time, microbes colonized the porous carbon, turning it into a permanent habitat for soil life. Here's the key: biochar doesn't decompose like compost. It lasts hundreds, even thousands of years in soil. That means every nutrient that enters the system gets stored, buffered, and recycled instead of washed away. Once it's charged, the soil becomes a nutrient bank. In healthy living soil, plants don't rely on you to spoon-feed them nutrients. They trade sugars to microbes in exchange for exactly what they need. Terra Preta, well, it supercharges that relationship. The porous carbon holds nutrients like calcium, nitrogen, phosphorus, and trace minerals. Microbes live inside it, protected from predators and drought. Fungi connect it to plant roots. Nothing leaches, nothing is wasted. When organic matter breaks down, nutrients stay in the system. When plants shed roots, they feed the soil. Every season adds fertility instead of stripping it away. This is why calling it fertilizer misses the point. It's not an input, it's infrastructure. So, if this works so well, why isn't it everywhere? Because permanent fertility doesn't sell well. Industrial agriculture thrives on repeat purchases. Fertilizers, pesticides, soil conditioners, pH adjusters, a system that improves over time and reduces inputs, threatens that model. Biochar doesn't wash away. Living soil doesn't collapse every season. Farmers who adopt it buy less. For decades, the focus stayed on chemistry, not biology. Fast results mattered more than long-term resilience. Terra Preta didn't fit neatly into that narrative, but gardeners don't need permission to do better. You don't need an Amazon rainforest or ancient knowledge to apply this today. You just need patience and, well, the right mindset. Start with quality biochar, or you can make your own safely from clean biomass. But hey, never apply it raw. Uncharged biochar will absorb nutrients before it gives them back. Soak it in compost tea urine diluted with waterworm, leachate manure, slurry, or just some rich compost. Let microbes move in, then incorporate it into your soil along with compost and organic residues. Don't till deeply every season. Let roots, worms, and fungi do the mixing for you. Feed the soil, not the plant. Mulch heavily, and try to keep living roots in the ground as much as possible. Over time, you'll notice something strange. You need less fertilizer, then almost none. You know, this soil doesn't deliver flashy results overnight, but it compounds. Every season builds on the last. Over time, yields stabilize, plants handle stress better, pests decrease, and water retention improves. Most importantly, you stop fighting your soil. Terra Preta isn't a recipe, it's a philosophy. Build systems that last longer than you do. Create fertility that doesn't depend on supply chains, prices, or products. That's real power in the garden. As gardeners, we're in a unique position. We don't need industrial approval. We don't need massive equipment. We can experiment, observe, and rebuild soil the way it was meant to function. The idea that soil must be constantly fed from a bag is relatively new, and, honestly, deeply flawed. The idea that soil can regenerate itself is ancient and proven. Once you understand that, fertilizer stops being the answer, soil becomes it. If this kind of deep practical soil knowledge resonates with you, subscribe to Soilpower for more grounded timeless gardening strategies. Share this with a fellow gardener who's tired of chasing inputs and wants real fertility. Let's bring buried knowledge back to the surface, one garden at a time.